Right. So, yeah, nothing news, right, about high seas or promos or anything fun and exciting. So, let's try out Maxx, right? I have a deck list that I think I'm happy with, right? Had to speed it up. So, thanks to people who actually are competent with mech and their advice, right? Teklo Foundry Heart and just taking a very, very aggressive setup for Maxx. But I think we'll send a few games with just the Armory deck, right? For starters. And then, mess around a bit, see what exactly we end up liking most. So, yeah, we'll play this, discuss it a little bit. I really like Puffer Jacket, and I want it to work, but it's still just a bit slow. Maybe once not single player, the meta, cools down a little bit, then it's going to be a little bit better, but it feels like you just need to play aggressive, right, as mech. Hey, James. Yeah, high hopes, low expectation. I don't know. Really just trying to go as fast as possible with Foundry Heart. I've been doing well, but the out of the box list I think is a bit slow. But we'll see. Bang Break also, as fun as it seems like a kind of a bait. It's just it's such a loss in tempo to set up. I wish it wasn't exactly 3. If it was an unspecified amount and you could leave, say, one hyperdriver on board for your following turn, I think I'd like it significantly more. But the fact that it clears your board to set up for Bank Breaker, I think that's just too great of a loss of tempo. Unless you had like Clamp Press already set up to go into the 2 swings. But yeah, we'll see how it plays. And then we'll try some other versions, because I do have one still with Puffer Jacket. Where is it? 2.0. Which is still trying to speed it up, but relying on Puffer Jacket for the extra charges on our hyperdrivers. Then the one that I've been having actual success with, and this is not going to go well against a tuned Aurora. Considering, no AB sideboard either. Well, this will be fun. Going first, I feel is always correct though. Now you can't start with Bankbreaker, otherwise I do feel like just getting the action points for the 2 swings with no charges, right, for Bankbreaker is still a bit rough, but I would like to play around with it on board starting, but no. You have to construct, which means it's also Maxx only. This is not a bad start, considering we can just spend the turn setting up. We actually have the resources. I do if I empty my hand and don't keep an arsenal card, which I think is worthwhile. I think it's better to not crank the Clamp Press. So we go Hyperdriver. And I really like going first with Maxx, because if you high roll, right, and just find 1, 2 Hyperdrivers, it seems a lot better to just go first, set up the board, and call it a day. But yeah, there's promise behind Maxx. Clamp Press by far is the standout card in the Armory deck. Oh god, get to turn chat on. There we go, beautiful. Right, it doesn't cover up anything too important. No, T-Bone definitely more significant than the Construct. So yeah, Twin Tech Charging Station for 1. This is a very rough card. I want to really like it, and it has potential, right? Even just a 0 for +3. But trying to get the hyperdrivers to line up in all the different zones for all the different cards is definitely a little rough. 5 with Go again, so it's just straight damage. Our turn with 2 crankshafts is a little rough, right? We can't get the bonus of Twin Tech, so it's 0 to 60 into a crankshaft, although we want to, end with using Maxx's ability and then using Banksy. So we want 3 resources spare, and right now we don't have 3 resources spare. So in that sense, I can get rid of a crankshaft, and I can get rid of some equipment, although I think I want to save the equipment for a little bit worse of a card coming out of Aurora. I can't remember. All their stuff is just straight damage, right? Or arcane pings. There's nothing that has really bad on hit effects, right? Yeah, so it's just mitigating the damage. So definitely throw out Drive Break so that we can get this primed for boosting away one of our 9 hyperdrivers. And I'll get rid of Fist Bump as well. Yeah, we'll save the 2 just for the breakpoint. I should probably save the 1 as well for the breakpoint, but whatever. I don't have too high hopes with this out of the box. Still though, our turn isn't horrendous, right? Just Twin Tech for the +3. The lines are nice and easy to wrap your head around though. Boost, definitely for the resource, and the go again. What do you think about 4 main sets a year for Fab? Because of all the events and the structures and the seasons, I don't think they do 4 sets. I mean, they could work it in, but one set would have to be just a rehash of what already exists. If it was continuously adding, 2 to 4 heroes, then I don't think they'd be able to fit it all into a year. I think that's just stretching the Living Legend system and what they want in terms of healthy development for the game a little bit too far. So I think it'll stay at 3 sets and 3 seasons, right? Centered around, Worlds, Nationals, and the Pro Tour. And then maybe they bump up to 2 Mastery sets a year, or Mastery set, supplemental set. Clamp Press for the Steam counter is always the correct choice, in my opinion, unless you're struggling to maintain one Hyperdriver on board. Otherwise, just making sure you can keep up Clamp Press is absolutely fantastic. But yeah, I can see them doing 2 supplemental sets a year, right? 1 and 1 mid, something like that, just to help out. The other thing then, again, going to the event structure, is a Mastery set would be a huge influx of new cards, so they'd want to time it. I think we're just, at this point, going aggro, right? And just trying to outpace them. Now, we have 1 resource few, so I need to keep a yellow so that I can play Jump Start and then still do Maxx. So I think, yeah, we take the damage and we see whoever can present more, unfortunately, which will most likely be them. But Maxx can consistently throw out like 15 easily, which is really nice. But yeah. I think if Aurora goes, Maxx does still outcompete Syndra now, which is nice. God, it's just so much damage. Well, our turn's not too bad. 3, 3, a 5, and a 5. So 16. Yeah, the back and forth is nice. Starlink first. We can land a Hyperdriver for our fist bump. That'd be nice. That said, I would really like to see them do bring back a supplemental set, right? That way they can target all the bottom barrel heroes all at once, or even just supply commons and rares. Bottom Maxx. We really want to luck out just for the little extra damage. Another 3. Boost as well. The other big thing is you really want to singly take 80 cards. Oh, well, minus equipment. You want to take a full deck in terms of Classic Constructed, because I have lost to Fatigue very often, especially with the out-of-the-box variant. Yes, then Jumpstart. Boost. You really want the extra cards. Yeah, it's unorthodox, we'll put it as, compared to, normal decks. So you really do have to figure it out, right? What you're trying to bank your resources to. The main loop is getting to 3 resources to end your turn, which somehow I destroyed the hyperdrivers, right? So I messed it up. I forgot boosting destroys. Well, I forgot jumpstart is not a 1 for 5, it's 2 for 5 once I lose the hyperdriver. So I don't actually need to crank this, but yeah, so you want to get to 3 resources to end your turn. That way you can go Maxx into Banksy if you don't find an item to crank. Because Banksy, the pressure from that and maintaining something like Clamp Press is phenomenal. So yeah, not being able to do that last turn definitely was a big loss in tempo. So you guys can't see health. God, I have to figure out where to put chat. / make teleshare smaller. You can see it sometimes. But I think we're still going back and forth. Although this turn is a bit rough. I mean, the heist, do we have anything? We don't even have anything for heist. It's just damage. I can't upkeep the 2 clamp presses, unfortunately. Well, no, I can get at least 2 turns of 2 clamp presses. God, just take the damage. Felt like how hesitant they were. We're not talking about Dromai during PT London. Again, the gem packs, the color scheme, to me, goes there. They're going to reprint Viz and Dromai at the same time in the final set of the year. But it could also just be Monarch 3. Although they did state Monarch 3 would be... God, 7 damage. Monarch 3 would be... I need to get rid of the helm too. I need to cycle the Hyperdriver. Monarch 3 would be 2026, right? So yeah, toss a coin, I guess, which you actually think it'll be. How do we think the meta changes without Enigma? So Enigma Gone, I think, just gives rise to Prism, right? Because Prism will just basically take over that. It's Prism's a bit easier to deal with, right? Because just doing a little bit of damage and popping ward works instead of trying to, destroy the mass of assemblage, right? That Enigma can get to. But I don't think it opens up too much, right? The two big players that need to go are Aurora, but then you fall back to Syndra, right? Or in this case, Maxx, if aggro turns out to be pretty nice, right? And then, Enigma gone, you fall back to Prism. And then maybe Dromai if Dromai comes back. I want to set up the Clamp Press. Do I do it first, just so I can string attacks? I think I do. Not that equipment is super relevant here. Rank it. And 0 to 50. I still don't have the resources. Yeah. I think you want to cut out all the 2s. Illusionist will now have 1 hero for a long time, especially if there is 1 out of 3 after high seas. I could see them just printing another Illusionist just for the sake of it, because it seems like they want to keep, 2 to 3 of each class around. Although, in that set, am I Banksy or am I Heist? I was thinking of cranking, but then I still can't. I could pitch for the Banksy. God, I have to, because I have the 2 Clan Princes, so I think I'm just stashing the Heist. The other route they go is they just count Necromancer as basically a illusionist light, right? Keep the clamp press around. I mean, maintaining 2 clamp press is definitely nice and aggro. Too bad I think we're probably just dead from their turn at 9. Enigma and Zen leaving will give a lot of play to Victor and Yao, so I don't think Prism rises that much. Those 2 are good into Mechs and Ninja. So, my personal opinion for Jarl is he's not as damning as Oldhim, right? Obviously, once the Frostbite start going, it's really bad. But it's more he just shapes the meta. So, like, Syndra into Jarl, you can actually have a decent time if you just don't go redline. Do they have the 1 Arcane Ping they do from the Arc Lightning, so I do have to block. We're not getting enough value out of Puffer Jack. It's got to go. They have 1 go again, so I have to stay on. Either they pitch or they swing with a go again. Worst case is it's a 3 and they can grasp and Starfall, so I have to stay at 4 HP. Well, the 2 cost is too much. So, Jarl. So, Victor, I think, just gets crapped on. Because the same toolkit you sort of take against Victor, you'll probably take against High Sea Heroes in their sake of gold, right? So, everyone will still be pretty competent against Victor. Although, depending on the gold support that actually comes out of High Seas, Victor could definitely just launch up. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was fun. Did I miscount? Right, yeah, I didn't count the actual rune chant. Also missed what they did. Anyway. But, there we go. To be expected. We'll do 1 more game with it out of the box, and then we'll... Also, I keep forgetting to save the deck. Then we'll try tweaking it. Or playing one of the tweaked versions, I should say. And the other thing with the High Seas Heroes, they're all looking... Well, maybe not popping so much, but they're definitely not... They're mid-rangey, right? So, again, you can play around the Frostbite. So I think Jarl was specifically just to, counter the Hunted. And they just had a rough time because of every other deck that's still in the meta. Oh, mirror match. I want to know if they're straight out the box. They're probably not. We'll see their equipment in though. And then there's also always the hope that High Seas brings, something for Mech, aside from... Because they're still, in my opinion, kind of trying to find a identity, right? So, obviously, they're aggro for the sake of aggro. We have a little bit of equipment disruption. God, why couldn't I go first? God, losing the helm. Turn 1. Yeah, so they're not out of the box. So they're going to run me over. Ah, yeah, Fast and Furious too. Oh, God. I cycle the yellow, because I have the blue to go into Maxx and Banksy. Or Crankshaft now sucks too. Break the chain, let me block again with Break the Helm. Please. Do hit for a 5. Well, I don't need to keep the Crankshaft. Do I want... I'll just keep 1, 0 to 60. I might as well block. Problem is you definitely want to keep a 3 for the Banksy, end of turn. You don't want them maintaining the Hyperdriver, although same sort of scenario, just without pushing the 3 damage. Alright, our turn. Am I playing the Hyperdriver? I cheat resource out, but I lose a 0 to 60. No, I think it's just double aggro, keep 1 0 to 60 in the arsenal. Try to slow play. I mean, if we get off the expedite, I'm happy, but we probably won't. Thank God there is another Ranger in High Seas. Now we have 3 that are not bad. Although 1 is still kind of, not super playable. Right, Riptide. God, I actually, I went up against a Decimator Fang with CYB. As this Maxx, and he just fatigued me out. I got him down to 1, but then he just fatigued me out. Yeah, I think I'm not pushing. I think it's this Maxx. Frank can make them have to deny the hit. As long as we can maintain advantage, card-wise, we should be happy. So it's their 2 cards against our 5 following. How'd I have the extra action point, right? Because I was going to let me play. Weird. It was green. Hmm. I mean, the nice thing with Foundry Heart is you can still get to the resources, especially with the 1 Hyperdriver on board. What did I do? I went Expedite, Boost. Perfect. And 0 to 60, Boost. They wanted to block with their legs. And then it was Maxx, Hitch Hyperdriver, Blanket, with Banksy. Yeah, so blocking with the legs is always priority. Just for the off chance you boost the Hyperdriver. I really wish there was just like 3 extra Hyperdrivers in the deck, or even 6. 0 to 60. So yeah, I think we just block the Banksy. That's the only matter here. And it's just Puffer Jacket, Fist Bump. And then we try to out aggro them. And then it's just whoever gets lowest first wins. Because our equipment's spent for the most part. Well, they still have the breaker helm for our Banksy if they want. The crankshaft, again, I hate having the 2 costs because we just can't get to the resources. And then we don't have a yellow either for Maxx into Banksy. So this is actually a really, really rough turn. This is a super rough turn for us. Once you lose hyperdrivers on board, it's so hard trying to regain tempo. Like, I need to send basically my whole hand, keep the crankshaft. And yeah, if they don't block, as long as they just have a high quality turn, I'm screwed. And we lost a clamp press. Rough. Zero pitcher hyperdrive to fill slots, 10 to 12 would have been sick. Don't make it a resource. Do hyperdriver X, I don't know, gives something else. Like, they could do a whole string of hyperdrivers. What's the exact wording? It does say a hyperdriver rather than the usual a card with the name hyperdriver. But, yeah, just hyperdrivers that weren't necessarily hyperdrivers, potentially. Well, here's the thing, just a zero cost. Oh, I'm glad they didn't close the chain, because I didn't mean to do that. Yeah, just if it was zero cost, one Steam counter, crank, right? And that way it's just there to activate Banksy. And then also the, you can play this, or this gains an effect if an item was destroyed this turn. Something like that, I think, would be solid enough. Because in a more aggro version where you're not taking Puffer Jacket, you still definitely take the blue hyperdrivers. And if it's just you're playing them to crank them, you're not cheating them out in any sense. It's still good enough because it activates Banksy, in my opinion. Because Banksy is just big aggro maintenance card, especially once you get Clamp Press. I have no idea why it double asks you to close chains. But the fact they kept the whole hand makes it really rough. Yeah, so this is the other thing. We don't have any, like... Well, actually, you can fist bump, right? Yeah. Against the T-bones. And then I can drive break as well. Yeah, so zero cost, zero pitch, hyperdriver light, theme counter, no resource generation, just crank. Just something to fill out the slots to... Because it's 9 and 60. So that's not even a fourth of a chance every time you boost to activate fist bump or drive break. Not to mention once you start playing them. And just so it's a target as well for like Twin Tech charging station or even gas up. Yeah. It's what I would have liked to see, just a little bit more hyperdriver support. But it's a start, so I'm sure they'll revisit it once it settles and they determine whether or not Maxx is playable to actually proper competitive now. He's definitely playable, I think. And then just the Bertha, right? I'm half tempted to just get rid of the Puffer Jacket, but that's only 2 block anyway. Really want the pitchables. Yeah, the 2-cost crankshaft is just throwing me off in terms of actually sending attacks. I give him the Steam counter because it's on a hyperdriver, I guess. Because we need to recoup because I don't have a hyperdriver in play. So I need the pitchable. At least because we do have Puffer Jacket, I can play the hyperdriver and gain the resource off it. Or my card could just be hidden by Teleshare. That was weird. There we go. Crank. At least Banksy's active, which means it's probably Crankshaft Swing, not Maxx. Yeah. Come on, hit a hyperdriver, get me the +1 and the +1 to the wrench. No. The +1 on the wrench is also just fantastic in terms of creating that breakpoint. Yeah, the high octane ban is obviously neutered him greatly in terms of Nitro. I'm surprised it's still sort of maintaining its big price. Yeah, there we go. We hit a hyperdriver. Which means I probably want to Maxx and get the hyperdriver so I can land Banksy onto something rather than just pushing the damage with Crankshaft. If we didn't get the +1, I'd just throw out the 5 into a 3. Because it's really hard to land the action points anyway. Like gas up, I don't know if gas up's truly worth taking. So it's a 1 for a +4 to create something big, which is definitely nice. But maintaining the hyperdrivers in Graveyard and Banish can be really, really difficult. Although we're above in life, I'm going to say we are. Ah, never mind. That's rough. Was that's not in the deck? I guess you're just taking more zeros for the hyperdrivers, I suppose. Well, I'll take the 2. The nice thing, though, playing against Maxx, you don't have to worry about reactions or anything. What is presented is what is presented. Oh, that's rough. The Foundry banishing the hyperdriver. So 9 jumpstart is scary. Can I come back with a big turn that I care about? No, because we've just been priced out, essentially. Unfortunately. Right, we have 4 resources. So I guess it's jumpstart first into throttle. Yeah. Yeah, that's a bit annoying. I think it's blocked with the 1, and I just have to take the damage. I suppose I could have cycled the hyperdriver, but I think because it's a blue, with this hand, I need the blue, unfortunately. And then I have to block the Banksy. Let's throw out the throttle. Then play crankshaft instead. Ugh. Alright, so jumpstart first because we have the hyperdriver. We definitely want to play it at 1 cost. It's still not played the crankshaft. This is just such a dead card in my arsenal. Just 0, Maxx, Banksy. The usual turn. At least our Banksy's at 4 again. But once we get post 10 life, then it's really rough. Just giving our hand to block is just going to be bad. $15. Again, us with 4 cards and Banksy. I feel like they could, especially because they have the 2 overdrivers. Depends how much they've tweaked the attack curve. They're still running 2 costs. I think we're safe. They're running 0s and 1s. Just straight binary. Then it's a little bit rough. It's this 3 cost to end your turn that I don't super like. Unless you have enough hyperdrivers to make it worthwhile. But I do think Foundry Art is just the better pick. Which I didn't come up with. It was explained to me. Do we have a hyperdriver? We do. We have plenty for our twin tech. So this is actually somewhat nice, right? Because we can twin tech, hyperdriver, get 2 resources, crankshaft, 0 to 60. So that's 5, 3, 4, so 12. Forces them to block. Oh. Yeah. 7's not too scary, so I think if I cycle the hyperdriver, technically I can still do my turn without playing the hyperdriver. And getting another 0 would push more damage. So I think we're trying to close it out. Sure, I'm happy to break this up, play a few games of Cheyenne. It depends if Blitz is biting, right? Because since ProQuest is on again, there's not as many Blitz games I find on Talishare. And when I play gimmicky decks, I don't like queuing into people. Because Cheyenne especially becomes the rough spot of if they don't take AB, it's kind of a cakewalk. And most people don't take AB into Cheyenne. I'm saying because most people expect like Ninja or Guardian Cheyenne instead. So we got another crankshaft, which is diabolical, unfortunately. Ugh. River yellow. At least we're coming with the damage. So as long as we can clear their hands, we should maintain advantage. Well, everything we play pressures, so I think we're happy. Give me a card. Thank you. You don't have to give me 2 cards with the crankshaft, though. It'd be really nice if I could swing the wrench as well. There is no way. Actually, there was a way. I misplayed. Because if I maxed before playing the last attack, I could have got the 1 extra resource. That's another thing. There's so many like sequences where you break the chain and you do something kind of unorthodox that you have to consider. I missed out on 1 extra card from them, which is very, very big because that would have put them 1 card in hand. I definitely could have survived and then pressured them next turn. So I think that just lost us the game. See what they send, but probably. That's a good start. We'll jump over to the, Blitz might be quick. We'll do one Blitz, I think. Just so I can fix my head. 7. That's rough. Because, well, actually I have a puffer jacket, so it's coming handy. But my turn is not fantastic. It's definitely the crankshaft. How do we get the resources to do everything I want? Place Sprocket Rocket gets us 2 resources. And that's Clamp Press and Crank, and then I guess it's just swinging with the Banksy. Really need this to be for a 4, so they have to block with 2 cards. Not. That's a shame. It's still just Clamp Press, Crank it. And then I might as well max, since I have the resources. Because I have to give 2 cards, it does shut down the Banksy swing, which is definitely nice. We're not out just yet. Oh, okay. This should be... No, well, actually I have the resources. We should be fine. I should be able to present enough, yeah. At the very least, it's 4 attacks. Oh, they've told me they drew rough 3 hype drivers. Which is also a bad thing, taking so many items. Like, I've had turns where it's been hype driver, clamp press, or triple hype driver. It's been a bit rough. But at least we can say we got 1 win out of the box. Right? Where's my Shayana list? We'll do the gimmicky one. That should be quick. Well, you will burn. We'll see if people bite. Otherwise, yeah, we'll just play more Maxx. So, if you're not familiar with this deck, nice and simple. It's just crazy amount of go-agains into Arc Lightning, Blazing Aether. You've got a decent amount of fetch. Become the Arc Knight, fetches Arc Lightning. We get the right matchup, it fetches anything out of our deck. Same with Showtime and Lessons in Lava. So going into an Aurora, going into Guardian or Wizard, super happy. Otherwise, yeah, just tank a lot, Embodiment of Earth, life gain, and then hope. While we wait, where's my tweaked Maxx? We'll go over it. So there's 2 versions. One where I'm still keeping Puffer Jacket and trying to make it work. It still just, fortunately, seems too slow. Moonshot also seems awful still, unfortunately. This should not be in the deck. Hyper Scrapper, decent enough, because it's still just something you can pump as a blue, right? So just hitting clamp presses with it, rather than trying to get to the 3 hyperdrivers is fine by me, right? So, yeah, I kind of like Hyper Scrapper. Probably end up just taking Pulse Wave Harpoon instead of the Moonshot, I think. Supercell, I don't think it's necessary. If you're taking Puffer Jacket, you don't need it. If you're not taking Puffer Jacket, you don't have enough on board to use it either way, in my opinion, to really make it worthwhile. Zipper Hit should be in the deck. There we go, that'll do. Zipper Hit and Jumpstart I do just like taking as well. Is there another 2 we could throw out instead? No. Yeah, so this version still relies on Puffer Jacket setting up, and then just takes aggro. But I think because of the early game, so although you get more resource usage, Nigma's interesting. Always go first anytime we gimmick. Although they do have instant to set up. Reactions don't matter, and humble doesn't matter. Maxx is still very, very variant. Because it's the hyperdrivers. 9 and 60 is the odds you're playing around, unfortunately. Enigma does nothing for me. But he is fun to play. And you can take enough aggro where it cuts down on that variance. So even if you don't find the hyperdrivers, it's fine. But landing it for the gloves that give you wrench +1 is pretty huge. And our turn 1 is not fantastic. The wage gold gets denied, so it's just the pursuit. And stash the unmovable. Taking it out of the box is super RNG, I think. Because you really need the hyperdrivers to enter all the different zones to really make use of. But tuning it to be a bit more aggressive is fine. There's no rationale for them not to... Oh, wait, no. Cloaked. I thought they were New Moon for a second. The nice thing is we have the Blazing Aether, so we're 1 piece down already. And then we have a sizable block. Do they have any Arcane Barrier? No. So, yeah, see, like this. All they have going for them is the ward against our burning shenanigans. They do have an instance, I guess. Nope. The Become finds the Arc Lightning means we can go pretty quickly. So if we can just pop off before they set up their board, I think we're happy. So keep the Rowdy. If I don't have to ditch my hand, we're fine. Oh, there's the Chi, I was going to say. So Become the Arc Knight, finds Arc Lightning. Arc Lightning is 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm still missing a piece. I think it's find the Arc Lightning and then go the next turn. And send the Rowdy just try and clear. Yeah. Block with the shield because we might as well. And... do I block with the unmovable? No. They send something else bad, but I just want to keep clearing the shields. 2 damage. I think it's fine to take it. Well, I guess clearing the arsenal would have been better. You know what? I think it's fine. We'll go for it. Not this turn, but we'll get the pieces. So get rid of the Rowdy, find ourselves an Arc Lightning, play the Whispers, just get out of hand, draw 2 more. Well, I'll do it. In fact, I should have kept the Become the Arc Knight since it was a blue pitch ball into the gold. So, unless they can amass a huge amount right now, we should be fine with the double blazing. Or unless they can kill us, which is definitely a possibility. Nice thing is each Arcane Ping clears 1 thing, right? So, not a huge amount of protection on board. It's annoying having to pitch into the gold rather than play the Heartbeat. Although if we find their attack, I'm happy. There goes the second. Oh, it's Lessons. I think Lessons actually screws us. No, because I haven't used the Dark Lightning charge. So actually we're fine. Lessons is actually better. Yeah, so Lessons. Surely they have instant ward, right? No, don't need a shooter. So it's exact damage. It's slightly more, actually. Yeah, you need the AB. Right, there we go. Nice 5-minute match. Back to Maxx. Alright, so we'll take... Now we'll go straight to the tuned version, I think. Right. So yeah, taking Founder instead, and it just smooths out being able to end your turn with Maxx into Banksy. And then cut out all the 2s, and we're just taking 0s and 1s, essentially, right? So Jumpstart and Zipper Hit being the big 2. Jumpstart most of the time is 1, since we can maintain Hive Drivers, and then I swap in everything else, right? I think the highest cost is Magnetic Shockwave, but it's blue, so it's a pitch ball as well. Pulse Wave Harpoon, another 1. Overloop, another 1 as well, just because we mill ourselves a ton. And generally speaking, I just take the whole deck. I think quality-wise, it's still fine, right? You're adding in enough good cards that, it evens out. Plus, then we're just milling through it anyway, so the consistency is still fine. And it relies less on us finding our hype drivers to do certain things. So we do have Twin Tech Charging Station, which is fine, but there's no gas up. There's no heist, so we don't have to worry about being bash zone. I'm tempted to actually cut the Construct Bank Breaker. The only time this is actually useful is when you're trying to close out the game and you need that extra swinger turn. Otherwise, just pressuring with Banksy is better. You also always want to go first, so it's a bit rough when we're not. It's good luck, have fun. But we'll see how we do. So, not a bad start. Although, obviously, we have to ditch a lot of it. Is it worth keeping the equipment? Try and keep this hand. We have the blue pitch ball into the Clamp Press and Banksy, so that's that, and then just the 2. So, God. Definitely always drive break, right? Just get this with the counter on it straight away. Whether or not I Klloo and Fist Bump instead of a card. What are the chances I draw a 0? Pretty high, so I guess we'll take it. Take the 1. And I assume they Arsenal, they don't overextend. Yeah, right in. So, still mitigate the damage, I think. Give me 2 zeros again, please. Little rough. We can play the Hype Drive for free. Oh, no, we don't have Puffer Jacket, so actually we'd be losing it. We'd attack with Hyper Scrapper. Not that we have any cards, so this is a bit rough now. So I guess it is Clamp Press, hitch the Hyper Driver, and I'm saving the Hyper Scrapper. It is a very, very rough card to Arsenal. Maybe I should have Arsenal the Hyper Driver, since it's a crank. You know what? I am. We're learning, so I usually don't like doing undos, but I will. Crank, send the data link. We can't get to enough resources to max, so a little bit rough there. And then just Banksy for the pressure and being able to maintain the Clamp Press. Which a lot of people actually allow, which is definitely going to phase out once people understand what Maxx is really trying to do. It's just, yeah, upkeeping the Clamp Press and having a 5 swingable. Really, really nice. Oh, I've got gas ups in here. Maybe I should cut the gas up. I think at this point, although it sucks letting them put stuff in Soul, actually I can ditch the Hyperdrive since I have 1 in Arsenal. So that's a 2. So it's still blocked with another card. No, actually that's fine, because it doesn't get the Bolton buff. Yeah. Or the Hyperdriver draws if it hits. That smooth things out? No. In fact, that makes things worse. So, expedites. No. Pitch for the Hyperdriver, crank it, so Fast and Furious gets a +1. Then I can tackle for 2. 0, 0, 1, 1. Yeah, that's decent. But we're taking a lot of damage. Maxx is a good aggro deck, but he definitely needs the jump start. Getting everything on board. Get the Soul Fuel as well. And it's very easy for your opponent to pick apart your hand, and then you're just left with something not so reasonable. So what did I say we were doing? Hyperdriver, gas up, rank it. Fast and Furious first, because it's 4. Boost, get a resource. No, because we're not Papa Jacket. Damn it. Did not go how it went in my head. That's the other thing. Playing, I played yesterday entirely with the Papa Jacket, trying to figure it out. I can still boundary for 2 resources, so I can Banksy and Super Hit, which is better. Then I think Arsenaling would have been so nice with Fist Bump. Well. And then another 5. So yeah, if you can't maintain one Hyperdriver, things definitely turn south. I guess they're just swinging, right? Some way to charge and then swing. Twin Tech. We do, beautiful. So Crankshaft is our Hyperdriver Banksy. We're 1 resource short, but I can get that through Klloo, so it's Twin Tech. I'd rather red in the deck. Well, actually, there was a case for the pitchable. And then a 7 or an 8. A 7's a better breakpoint, right? Yeah, no, because they still have 2s. Not that matters, because there's no real on-hit effect. At least we can get to the Hyperdriver. Damn. Do I want a resource? No. Let's just go to 4. Under loop. Boost. There's just a consistent way to get this to 4. So I guess LSS's mentality were, you know, say a third of the time you have Clan Press, a third of the time you're boosting a Hyperdriver. And that's reasonable, but it's the odds are kind of worse than that. We're just lucky that we have the Clamp Press. And it's definitely maintain the Clamp Press. Boots. No, we're still letting it through. Well, we're slowly reclimbing. I think this and Gas Up needs to go. We still have 1 Hyperdrive left. Beautiful. I can't get to 3 on board, so that doesn't matter. So I'm trying to play the Crankshaft. So either way, it's Twin Tech first. Gain the resource for a Klloo. Then Rockets. That's 2 resources. I'd rather the Hyperdriver doesn't go away. And then we're sort of still banking that they let Banksy through on the Clamp Press. Maybe it would have been better for the consistency. It seems like they're just waiting now. That we're low enough for them to try and just stall for Ascension. So 2 resources. I want to stash something. But I don't want to stash Construct. Kind of have to. Klloo puts us to 3, which is just that and Banksy, so that doesn't matter. So we're not Kllooing, it's just Crankshaft. Well, we are Kllooing, actually. We'll do this first, just so it's the chain, I suppose. Yeah, I think we're just trying to push as much damage as possible. We haven't milled ourselves too bad. This is why I take all the extra cards. I think Gas Up also being a 2-block. I don't like it. At least Construct is 3-block. We ditched a Gas Up. Probably pitched it. Though, if it does land and you get the Hyperdrive Vanish, then it's fantastic. But, yeah, unfortunate. Maxx. Rank. We have a good stockpile of resources too. I think they figured out. Don't let me keep the clamp press. Sad. Hopefully we can banish one. So I have 2 resources. The Pulse Wave's nice. Like to land the, well, I suppose they might have a 2-block. Maybe. Still Expedite first. Oh. Count is nice. We get to keep one of the Hyperdrivers. I have the resources to play everything. The quick math you have to do is Maxx as well. So, puts us to 3. That's that taken care of. We need one more resource, so no. So it's Pulse Wave, then pitch the Crankshaft. Although we got a Hyperdriver off the bias, so that's beautiful. We don't need to crank it. So it's blue, so at least we can maintain it. We get to 3 resources. Well, actually we can, because I get the resource of Hyperdriver. I think crank into the Banksy is actually better. Just continue pushing the damage. Although the fact that they're maintaining their hand makes me think that they have it. I didn't crank it, so I actually can't swing with Banksy. Damn. We have double fist pump too. I always think I have a good play in mind, and then I forget you have to crank to swing. Hey, Electrum. Rough. Shouldn't have foundried. This turn's not much better. Definitely drive break, and then maintain the rest of the hand. Actually, I'll use it on the next round, I suppose. Yeah, there's the Ascension. It goes to a 1. I guess I give a 3 as well. No, God. And I forget about Bolton's ability. So hopefully we survive, damage-wise. Life gain is also sad. Yes, I did make a video on Marlin shenanigans. Just playing a whole bunch of endless arrows. Pass. Hold. This is a rough turn, but I think this is better overall. I think we're dead. Marlin's looking really nice. I'll take the clamp press in case we survive. So it's very versatile. Everyone's, comparison to Lexi is absolutely true. The fact that you can go big or wide with her, looking really, really fun. Is it blocked by attack action card? Beautiful. Maybe we scrape by? Depends what their other attack is. Yeah, rough. I have to give one more card. Guess it's the BIOS update. +3 would have been really nice. I'm good, Electrum. Yourself? Trying to rack my brain around Maxx. Yeah, done. I'm going to remember to save it this time. I can just remake the game straight away. So if we do cut gas up, and maybe construct as well, question is, what do I then put in? I think we're out of zero-cost boosts. At least ones that I like. I don't know why I went to 2. Data Link at least has some versatility. T-Bone just because the armor would be nice. You get any Guardian promos? Ooh, Olympia. Battle to the Pulp seems like a rough card. Hopefully, Enigma going makes people want it less. Or hopefully just through a celebration event, it's widely accessible. So I want the Blue Pitch Bull, Maxx, and Banksy. I guess we're trying to get rid of the 1 costs. Actually, how much equipment do I have to get over? I'll keep the Pulse Wave Harpoon. I think I have Fast and Furious. Yeah, definitely. Since you can land the Steam counter onto Clamp Press is awesome. And then, of course, it being just a 4 go again is nice. Wow, this is quite the opening from Olympia. Up the Ante is so good because the wages post block. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. And take Malik's. I think, especially early on, if you find a blue, you got to keep the blue. And then a 0 to prime your turn. Give me a free item, please. Nope. Yes, block. Block so I can land the Banksy. Does it attack or hit on Dynamos? It's just attacked. So, yeah. Easy for them. Fortunately, no free item. This is Maxx. Hitch. Rank. Swing. Give me the Steam counter. Thinking about it. Oh, awesome. You don't have to worry about hype drivers too much. We have blue again, so that's beautiful. Need 1 resource, so Foundry Heart does that. I think we're just trading. I don't expect the second up the ante to come straight away. So yeah. Alright. Let's Sprocket Rocket first. No, sorry, we got the resource through Hyperdriver. I didn't factor that in. I don't have to do Klloo either. So it's Sprocket, Underloop. Although, is there a way for me to Arsenal a card? Don't really want to Arsenal the Blue Crankshaft, but I think it's just mono-y mono, so I have to send as much damage as possible. Then under loop. Really just, if we land the +1 to Banksy, we'll be super happy. Break the chain, unfortunately. I want to crank first. Do I still miscount resources? Do I not need to Foundry? I guess I didn't need to Foundry. Even. Ah, that's what you got. Alright, I got a resource because of the hyperdriver into fast. Alright. Don't think I need the hyperdriver now. Well, actually, my hand is actually really costly. So I need the blue, also. Block 3. They wager. But now we're just trying to mitigate damage. Only we had boosted for gas up. But still just make it as big as possible. And Klloo just means that we can end with a hyperdriver. No Banksy swing, unfortunately. I think Pulse Wave Harpoon is too greedy as well. We don't get to 3 boosts enough. I suppose the knowledge, 2 cards from their hand, is still nice. Well, we are trading well enough back and forth. Was their effective range? Yeah, up the ante. I'd say it's sub 10, right? It's just consistent amounts of damage. Although the gold definitely makes it worse. I think this turn is just pushing damage. I'm playing the crankshaft, which feels rough. Well, actually, I might as well swing Banksy. It's the same amount of damage. The only advantage I'd get is if it lands BIOS update. So it's just Maxx, Crank, Fast and Furious, lose the hyperdriver, Banksy. And then hopefully they don't kill us and we can start pressuring their life. Bottom that. Although that was a decent card to just banish. I think I'm going to cut Construct as well. We'll tweak the deck after this one. Yeah, Maxx. Don't worry about the hearts. Rank. +1. And use Banksy. As long as we don't have to block too much. We're golden. We haven't landed a single hyperdriver this game. Have we even seen a... Yeah, we saw a blue one. I did hitch. Right? See, that's the rough part. Still just RNG finding the hyperdrivers. Ah, God. They can't buff the first one to a 12, I'm pretty sure. Couldn't they? There's enough +3s, right? No, it's the next one I have to worry about. So 4, chances are they can get the +4. So it's cut the BIOS updates. We do have 2, so I can jumpstart. So block with the BIOS update. Would I rather the +3? Eye rolling an item would be fantastic, because I could crank it and then I could Banksy. But I think I have to give the BIOS update. And hopefully they don't have enough. Playable? Interesting. Just to recoup equipment? Surely Olympia takes enough blues to just get the +1 from gold? Interesting. Expedite first, make them think they have to block. Team counter, take it. Take it on the chin. Getting the extra resource do anything for me? I haven't cranked, so no. Let's just send the 3. And just go for damage. I don't even have to boost it, since we're not doing anything else. I can save 1 card. Perfect. The Hype Driver for the helm is fantastic. They shouldn't be able to do enough damage. What's our turn? It's just a 3. So it's 0, get the resource, boundary, and still jumpstart and underloop. So yeah, it's just trying to clear their hand and hoping this isn't a +5 somehow. Just a +3. Rough, but not too bad. Alright, 1 card gone. And neither of these pressure. So it's the 4 first. Which should be the gloves and another card, hopefully. Of course we get fist pump now that we can't actually use Maxx. And fast as a 3. One damage off, forcing them to double block. It's a shame. Hopefully we draw another Hyperdriver. We have 2 block. It's easy enough for them to still swing twice. Whatever they're saving from Arsenal. Alright, what they got? 5. So, drive break. Do I greed it? How many Hyperdrives do we have? Only 1. Hyper Scrapper isn't doing much, nor is Construct anyway. I can greed it and hope that what they have is not a react. If it's a react, I'm screwed. But I need the resources because of the crankshaft. But this is the only way I pressure. So if it's a react, I'm just done. So I want it is, I guess. No? So I want a card for the other Centauri. I just realized I have no way to destroy the item with Subab. Hustling the Hyper Scrapper? What cards did I... No, it was Construct and Crankshaft. So, well, I could have played Crankshaft pitching the Hyper Scrapper, I suppose. I always tilt at the end. This is the hand that you dread. I had one more block, actually. But, yeah, no. That's all I got. It wouldn't have really mattered, tilting or not. Alright, let's... oh god, and I just saved it too. Okay, we'll cut. I don't want Bankbreaker. I don't want Gas Up. I want 3 blocks or Galvanize. Twin Tack, I think, is easier to land than the Gas Up, plus it's 0. So a 0 for 3 is fine, stat-wise, anyway. And then sometimes you get the +1 resource. Gas Up being 1 for 4 is a bit rougher. We cut them out. I definitely like Hyper Scrapper just as a nice big pitchable. Same with Crankshaft. So we're looking for 6 more cards to add into the deck. I have my Arcane Switches. That's fine. I could take yellows. I could put Big Bertha back. I really dislike Big Bertha. I guess it's the same sort of value as Hype Scrapper. Although if I'm taking Big Bertha, I might as well take Steel Street Hoons. The recommended LSS card, right? 3 for 5. That could block for 4. I guess is nice. We'll try it. That goes in the inventory. And then I suppose one more 1 cost. No, I definitely want another 0 cost boost. Because we were drawing a little bit bad. Some of the turns I wanted. I think it's the T-Bone. At this point, the new cards we're taking are what? Twin Tech, Clamp Press, and 2 of the equipment. 3 of the equipment. It's still basically the Armory Up deck upgrades. I mean, the nice thing is, you can't really see because my camera's hiding it, but Maxx it's a $150 deck, which is nice enough. So, yeah, we'll go upgrade. The value or the trade? You know what? Actually, Expedite. Because to a lot of people, Expedite is they have something in hand, so I got to block it. So it has that nice enough breakpoint where it's not just equipment. Yeah, I'd assume the new cards you can't see, but like the most expensive thing we have here, I'm pretty sure, is the Pulse Wave Harpoon. Actually, here, we can do it this way. Yeah, so yeah, the new cards it doesn't know. So add on whatever your region is. And since it's US, $40, right, onto it. But yeah, Hyper Scrap is actually getting expensive. That's interesting. But Pulse Wave Harpoon and Magnetic Shockwave, but everything else is kind of just cheap. Mech is still cheap. If you're interested in getting a mech, definitely do it now before Puffin comes, because Puffin seems great. Just a great way to handle the items. It's not as obscene as, say, Data Doll, but it's getting there. The fact that you can play 2, get a card back, it's fantastic. So I like Hyper Scrapper. Just as something big to buff. I mean, they tell us to take Steel Street Hoons or Big Bertha, but Hyper Scrapper, you know, a 3 for 5 is already better than Big Bertha to me. 3 for 5 that generates 6 resources, even better. 4 for 6, if you just have the Hyperdrivers on board, is fine as well, because you can hit Clamp Press with it as well. Definitely Pulse Wave Harpoon and Magnetic Shockwave. Right, these are always just nice toolkit pieces for certain matchups anyway, so they're 2 big ones. Boundary Heart for Puffin. I think because she's Pirate Mech, you might not actually be truly boosting. That's the only thing that's really up in the air, is whether or not it's just items, or if it's items boosting. It depends how many cards they bring. Because if they turn off all boosting, then they'd need a lot of support coming out of it. So Foundry Heart's a maybe. But, I mean, it's cheap enough as a legendary to pick it up. Other than that, filler pieces. I mean, where you're going to play a bunch of items. Again, you go back to whether or not boosting will be a big thing in Puffin. If it is, then Bios Update with a ton of items in your deck is just solid because its range of being 2 or less cost is fantastic. That hits every item in the game currently. Is there a 3-cost item? I think it hits everything anyway. Everything you'd play at least, right? And then the arcane stuff. Adaptive Dissolver is probably the big one, just because that's your nice arcane filler. That can go into any spot. Picking up at least 2 of them, I think, is correct. Yeah. Yeah. It, to me, depends on the pirate pool, because just Conqueror of the High Seas is such a high value card that, having that float through resources. I mean, oh God, what Boom Grenades and Hydrogen Collider, the majority of items rely on boosting. Why am I going to search? I can literally, we're in mech. The Boom Grenade is just the next mech knowledge attack, so that's something, right? So you don't need boost for Boom Grenades. That's still just solid, right? Imagine you turn, I throw out 2 Boom Grenades, I crank them, I guess a card back, and then all of a sudden my attacks are pressuring for an extra, what is it, 4 to 8 damage, depending on the colors. The Boom Grenade alone is just such a good card. Hadron Collider you wouldn't be able to take, because I believe this is when you boost, right? Yeah, when you boost an attack, so yeah. In that sense, though, actually both Mechanetic Shockwave and Pulse Wave also rely on boosting. I'd still pick them up because they're just foundational mech cards anyway, if you, again, big on mech. So whether or not Puffin steers towards boosting. But yeah, I mean, you could take everything that's currently run and say Dash IO or normal Dash, tweak it a bit so that you're actually making use of the draw effect of Puffin, and you're just going to have a solid time anyway with boosting, even if what's in High Seas isn't built around boosting. There's no real big Galvanized cards to me that seem fantastic. Unless, again, like Maxx, the amount of cogs you're throwing out is crazy. So a lot of them are filler anyway, commons and rares, so you don't have to worry about them too much. Yeah, I just say Pulse Wave and Mechanetic because they seem like goes into every mech competitively, so to speak, at least on the sideboard. It took 60, right? Oh, we're at 63. Because I have 12 in there. Watch me in the sideboard. What do we put in? Expedite. There we go. So used to just doing dummy games to practice crap, like random shenanigan stuff. Force of habit. Actually, an easier way to look at the mech cards is I went through and I made majestic lists of everything. So if we do mech and all this majestics, what is currently valued highly, right? Because that gives you the truest sense of playability. So Twin Drive, again, relies on boosting. And it's an enabler for VMAX, which is so weird to me that the value has gone into Twin Drive rather than VMAX. I suppose, Max V. This is a horrible matchup for us. Definitely want all the extra cards. But not unwinnable. So Twin Drive, Construct is, in the bin until we get a ton of action point making cards again, right? High Octane Light, something like it. That's a bit more capped. Oh, they let us go first. That's actually really nice. Don't have the resources unless I dump everything. I don't want to dump everything. Is there a way for me to get the Hyperdriver and Clamp Press? That only gets me 1 resource, but then I can Klloo, so it's still emptying my hand to do the same thing. I think, in all honesty, this is still just better than holding an Arsenal card. Because the clamp press is just such great pressure on board. And the fact that I don't have to crank it here, it's really nice. I'll take the BIOS update. The blue pitch ball, so that's taken care of. Foundry for the jump starts, and then hyperdriver for the hyperdriver. So cost-wise, we're fine. God. That's rough. I suppose I discard it anyway. I'm just going to fully block it regardless. So I want a nice aggro hand to cut back. I mean, most likely they hiss anyway, so... Is it hiss? Hiss is the +1. Yeah. No, Fang Strike. Hiss creates Fang Strike as well anyway. But we don't have a card now, so it's fine. Is our turn? Our turn is worse because we have the double crankshaft. This means I don't have to Foundry. Boost. I get to stash one of them. It's rough. We're taking a 73 card deck and we drew 2 of them in the top. The Steam count is definitely going. Oh. Wait, what? Oh no, crankshaft. I don't get to pick. I'm thinking of Fast and Furious. Nice thing is we don't have a lot of blues. Imagine if Clamp Press was just weapons, and New could grab it for the daggers. Do I need to Foundry? I don't need to Foundry. Just jump starts into Maxx, into Banksy. It's looking like they're not gonna block the Banksy, which we like. Since we have the hyperdriver, it's still just put it on the Clamp Press. No, paper scene. No, shelter. I had a 1 in 3 guess. Fine. That's not so fine, but anyway. Bonds. So as long as it's not something from hand, I'm pretty sure we just take it on the chin. Because we're just trying to beat them down as quick as possible. New is actually a matchup where I wouldn't mind gas up, since the chance of it working is actually really good. So, God. I get 2 resources. Every turn is do math. I get 2 resources, that goes into the crankshaft. I have 3 resources for Maxx and Banksy, so that's fine. And then I can stash a better crankshaft. Yeah, I guess that's fine. I forgot about the one from Zipper Hit. That's fine. Klloo takes care of it. I said that saying way before they made it a card. It's a very Aussie / New Zealander thing. Do you say it a lot in America or London? I'm guessing. Breaking the chain does nothing, so it doesn't matter. Three for 5. I actually want a 3 for 5. Either way, Zipper Hit first. Because I could 3 for 5. I get 1 resource left. No. Oh, I could Maxx first? No. I'm past that point. I would have had to do it before the Zipper Hit. I think it's still what I was thinking. I just keep the blue. No, I'd rather the bigger one. Since we're sort of over there hump it anyway. With cards. I'd love to hit a hyperdriver. Pitch. Frank. Banksy. I do lose both hyperdrivers next turn though. Paper Scene. Shelter. I'm gonna keep saying Paper Scene. New runs Paper Scene, right? To try and find the cheat cards. Or is it just Shelter and Sink? No, they had one. They had one before anyway. They denied me my Clamp Press. Sad. Alright, our turn still works. No. Yes. Yes. Klloo. So it's the usual. I mean, this is such good aggro, right? 3, 6, 11, 15, 18. Sending 18 a turn. You gotta be pretty happy with that. And if we hit Hyperdriver. Yeah, Clamp Press makes Banksy. They have to block, which is just fantastic. Like, I really liked Construct Bankbreaker when the Armory deck was first showcased, but now playing around with the cards, it's definitely not. Not the card. It still feels like it should have been a up to 3. So you have the flexibility. Because it's just so bad. Or if it was all but one Hyperdriver, that would be nice as well. But just clearing your board for it is not great, in my opinion. Not at least unless you're running Puffer Jacket. Yeah, that was a good turn of damage. We have one. Beautiful. LPL is equipment, right? Yeah, doesn't matter. Our equipment's basically spent anyway. I think they're trying to fatigue me out, but we should have enough aggro anyway. So we get to 2 resources, so I can Mechanetic for 3, which means they lose Mask, right? Must defend with equipment they control. That is probably winning us the game. And is definitely worth not setting up another Hyperdriver. Expedite first, make them block. And think I've got another one. Ah, the turn we're not swinging is when we get the buff. Oh well. Oh god. Helish's RNG. I'm committed. Give me the mask. No more second banish from hand, which makes all the bonds significantly easier for us to play around. Because it's basically don't block. Take the 1 card loss. It's the 2 card loss with mask that just is awful. Alright, so we're ahead on life. We've dismantled their equipment. And then we draw this hand. Yeah. Super up's just to end anyway. No. No, it's just another pitch into Underloop, I guess. I have to maintain the aggro. So, grab the resource? Is there any way I can make this work? Gives me the go again. God, now I have to think. Alright, so if we max here, we float 1 resource, we get a Hyperdriver, we can go back to 2, which means we can Underloop and Banksy. I think that's better. Just for the extra damage as well. We don't maintain a Hyperdriver, but oh no, I still misthought. I mean, that's what I'd end up doing anyway. But it's keep the soup up for next turn. Too many numbers to keep track of. I don't know why I thought it came with 1. It did come with 1. No, I'm going insane. I didn't have to tackle a Foundry Heart. And the loop destroys it. I'm just a rambling mess. Still might have been worth keeping a card in Arsenal. And if I didn't Foundry? No. Foundry got me the Hyperdriver for the wrench. The extra damage is nice. Alright, take it. Hype Scrapper. Online, there's 2 items, so it's still decent damage. So yeah, like this. Not too bad. If they hit a yellow, we're fine. So, tempted. They have, well, they might have a react for it, I suppose. But we'll do that. If we lose a card, we lose a card. Just Nick. I was tempted to break a helm, but I think there's a high enough chance that this hits a yellow that they can't banish anything. So we're fine. So I did not look at my hand. If I put this in play, it goes to the graveyard. So it puts me 3 to get to 6, but then this doesn't boost anyway. So it's save. Well, actually, BIOS. No, it is boost. So it's save the BIOS. So it's Twin Tech, just for the resource. No, that's wrong as well. I should have cycled the Hyperdriver. Would have been 0 to 60, which would have kickstarted this turn. Oopsie daisy. I can't Twin Tech next turn anyway. So I play the Hyperdriver. I think it's just that for the damage, which definitely feels rough. I'll put the Twin Tech in the arsenal, because if it goes, it's fine. Luckily, we're still pretty ahead on life that. This should be fine. Yeah, just send a big T-bone. And probably just play the clam press. Allows me a swing. Do we roll the dice again for this to hit a yellow? I feel like we do. If it's a yellow or blue, we're fine. If it gets rid of the T-bone, we're sad. Even if we blocked, it wouldn't have mattered. But yeah, them not having the mask for the chi here. So it's 2 hisses, 2 chi. No, 1 chi. They might be able to mill us, but we can do enough damage. Hit a red. So they get rid. I guess they think we have a boost card in our arsenal, I suppose. And surgical. So it's get rid of the mechanetic. And then the boundary hearts. I'm probably not paying attention enough, right? Underwater current gets Fang Strike and Slither. They use the Slither, right? So they still have the +1. So the alternative is what? Lose the arsenal, it's fine, and then just T-bone and Maxx. Yeah. Maybe keeping the mechanetic would have been fine too, because then I could arsenal the clamp press. Suppose that would have been better. I should be playing looser with my life. Oh, it's from hand as well. That's rough. I thought it was from Arsenal. Been going too long. My attention span is not fantastic. To be playing for almost 2 hours. That is a horrible hand. Keep the blue. It's also kind of rough. 20 cards left to do 20 damage. They hit any card, we're screwed. I think because they hit any card, we're screwed. I let it, and hopefully it hits a blue. Or a red. Blue or red, blue or red. Red. They get rid of the hyperdriver. They probably take the bios as well. Yeah. Do I get to enough resources to clamp press and swing? I have Klloo, so yes. So it's hyperdriver red off the blue. Rank. Boost. No, we are 1 resource short still. Let's just set up the clamp press. Which is where the majority of our damage goes. Is it worth setting it up? I think I don't actually want to mill myself, so it's just Banksy. As a 3, pressuring. NC losing the clamp press. It's not too bad. Not great, but it's not too bad. Seal Street Hoons is active, but I can't get to enough resources. Actually, it's better than the crankshaft. 4, 5. We're at 5 resources. So that's expedite, Steel Street, Maxx. Hopefully they think they have to block both of these. And they call my bluff. Not. Actually better. I think they're not calling my bluff. Which now the fact that we're playing 2 in a row definitely makes them think they have to block. I really want to get this item out. Okay. 1 resource goes to 2, goes to 5. So it's Foundry, which is definitely sore with the amount of cards we have left. Then Steel Streets. Boosts. Actually, maybe should have just... No, because I would have got the resource. Well, I could have Bankseed. I suppose that would have been a decent play. I'm trying to maintain the resources into our next turn, but I think they're just not low enough for that to matter. I think it should have been Crank, Boost, Banksy. Or even just Crank and just play the Steel Street Hoons, losing the Hyperdriver. I guess wouldn't do much. I cranked it. That was yeah, whatever. 4/4/4s. 1 resource goes into Hyperdriver goes into Underloop, Boundary Heart goes into Maxx. Make Codexed. So I can actually get a better attack. I can get rid of the Underloop so I don't have to Foundry Heart. So I actually like that more. It does go to a -1, but it's still 3 go again. And it doesn't boost, so I think Super Up is correct. They hit a blue, we're fine. It's also easy enough for me. Drive back. This is really letting me down. Right, this would be the perfect scenario where this had the one counter less and I could just use it instead of giving up a card. We're at 19. I don't think there's a way for us to come back. We just don't have enough cards left to actually do enough damage. So I do have to just chance it. Hit a blue. Rather than giving 2 cards. No. So we lose the Fast and Furious anyway. We take the damage. God. The crankshaft screwed us over, because now I can't soup up. We're dead in the water anyway. Three cards to our name. I'm very curious how much damage we've pressured overall. And 2 of them are hyperdrivers. Yeah. The spacing on hyperdrivers in this deck in Teleshare has not been to our favor. Makes you have no card for us for you to banish. Throw a what at us? Oh, they didn't do. Oh, that's all we have left. I also wish Poppin wasn't just Poppin. Sorry, not Poppin. Is it Poppin? No, what's the parrot called? Polycranker. If Polycranker was usable for Maxx, just as a way to be able to Banksy on turns you don't find boosts, the flexibility there would be fantastic. Because you'd be able to block more and still, present something decent, especially if you're trying to just upkeep stuff on board. I am just going to concede. Since we're out anyway. I usually like to play games out, but yeah. 105 damage threatened. 34 depth. They healed a fair amount too. They healed a really fair amount. 18? Alright, I think I got time for one more. Were we happy? I think the expedites were fine. Underloop might need to go. Steel Straight Hoons? Yeah. At least it's a boost and a blue. Well, it's also a 4-block. We'll do this one more time, and then I'll make up my mind if I want to put gas up. Back in. Construct, I think, is definitely correct to take out. Because trying to play it just ends up kind of backfiring, I think. But yeah, taking a full deck definitely also seems correct. Slippy. Interesting. They're going first. So not as diminishing as new, but still kind of rough. I banish me, they banish me. Not a fantastic hand. Quintet can go, which is rough because it's only 2. Yeah, finding this early is just awful. The amount of cards that this can take is too great for me. So whether this is a bait or not, I'm just going all out. Justin Nick is a +6, so they could still get over this as well. So I should throw the jumpstart as well. This is definitely overkill. But that's disgusting as an opener. Because they have on board enough reacts anyway without the Justin Nick. And we take the damage. Yeah, look at that. That into the bonds. Awful if I didn't just go crazy. So it's not playing the clamp press, unfortunately. I think maybe Sprocket Rocket. 0 for 3 is still fair. I'm just thinking on the sense that this never really lands. Should have maybe blocked 3 of the 9 damage. I think also just trying to have at least 1-0 is a fair call. And swinging with Banksy is correct, because we need the damage against Arachne. We have to get to 3, which we can't do. Otherwise, this would be fun. Persuasive. Again, they most likely have the reacts, but if they don't, we're happy. Yeah. If Assassin wasn't so dominant, Slippy would be fantastic. I don't know why they kept the wording. Like, it's just so weird. We'll give you -2 and also make you hate yourself going into new and normal Arachne. Onto the Arsenal crate, Blood Rot. It has to be the data link. You're just taking the Blood Rot damage. I think this just goes as a trade back and forth until one of us gets too low. At least our cost curve is sorted for the next turn. So if we high roll in terms of draw, we're super happy. And we want the non-token ones to go into our graveyard for our other cards. 3, 2 damage? 2 damage. So at least this covers our Maxx into Banksy. But of course they're going to mark us. So I think we just take the card loss. Because again, it's easy enough for them to get to 4. Oh. Do they mean to flick? Isn't that the play? I think they forgot to flick. There should be a quick prompt, just you can undo. Oh, I guess not. Oh, if that's the case, we're just trading. Pulse Wave does land as well, which is nice. Although I kind of like the 4 Fast and Furious, I guess. Yes, we're not going for it. Expedite first, always expedite first. Make them think it needs to be blocked. See, if only this was the turn where this was mechanetic. That word always trips me up. Because it's a weird combination of mega and magnetic. I guess I understand what they're going for. There's probably a real word, surely. Call my bluff. Please. Give me the value from your hand. So that I can out-aggro. Come on. I have an item. This one right here. Thank you. Gonna feel nice, yoinking a card from Assassin. Oh, and we hit a Hyperdriver. Beautiful. Wow. I think the choice is kind of easy. It should have clicked last turn. That would have really just led to a disgusting time for us. They could have, got rid of the possible. Wait, does Mark we pick or they pick? I pick. So actually, I would have still kept it. But at 3 would still yoink the leave no witness. We get to maintain 2 hyperdrivers. Beautiful. See, when it works, this deck is fantastic. In terms of fun to play. Still has a fair amount of shortcomings. Chip damage is not so fun, though. Alright, so we have the pitch ball, so we can play Crankshaft, and I just buff Expedite to make them think it's really bad. Plus, also, if we hit an item off it, we're also super happy. One day we will hit the Clamp Press, and we'll be ecstatic. Beautiful. Do we want to crank it? Cranking it means I don't have to play Maxx, which means I can get to the resources. No, because I'm still around pitching this. Means I could stash this in the arsenal. Is that better? Oh. I'll do it. Demolish their hands. They bricked as well. Well, not technically. Yes, technically, because they had shred. No, you could dagger swing, shred, clear it, codex, just nick. I think that would still be a disgusting return, right? But yeah, top decking the Clamp Press is nice. It's been alright. There's definitely rough matchups. Fatigue is obviously still a big issue with Mech, but in terms of the deck, once you figure out the play patterns and where you want to stockpile resources for, it plays really nice, right? Cutting down the curve is what you really want. We should be able to check on Talishare, right? 42% as max. I feel like that's not horrible. Terms of tonight. Wasn't the Veridance. Bolton was a loss. New was a loss. Arachne just then was a win. I think we did 3 games on this deck. So 1 win, 2 losses, which is kind of rough. On the Armory version. We won against a mirror match, but lost against Aurora. Which makes sense, because, Aurora just out-aggroes. So, 2 wins overall? Not fantastic. But I think definitely a big part is cutting down on the cost, which, as much as Crankshaft can help you maintain those hyperdrivers, I honestly think I'd still rather get rid of the yellows into a 1 cost that I can play. Because we've drawn it enough and had that situation where, God, now I'm 1 resource short of being able to max into Banksy and maintain the hyperdriver. That I think that needs to go. Maybe Gas Up comes back just as a 1 for 4. In that sense, with upside. But you do just want to do straight aggro, it seems. And you just try to outpace. And I think once Aurora goes, you do still out aggro Syndra, which is really nice. That's a good outlook. What's time? Depending on the matchup, we could do 1 more. Well, maybe the Crankshaft. We'll put back Gas Up. But yeah, going from the Armory deck to this, the standout card is definitely Clamp Press, along with some of the equipment. The flexibility of Breaker Helm is nice when you dead draw too many Hyperdrivers. But I think saving it for that, right? Don't just use it when you have one Hyperdriver in hand and you think you want to get rid of this, unless it's the opening hand. You need the extra block, I suppose. But Clamp Press, phenomenal, just with Banksy. I don't think, unfortunately, Bank Broker is worthwhile, although, you know, there's tons of combo shenanigans you can do with it and have fun, just swinging a whole bunch. Its setup is too costly. But yeah, Clamp Press, just as long as it's on board, your opponent has to block Banksy, and that's fantastic. 2 turns of them having to block your weapon, beautiful. Other than that, again, cut down the cost curve. Having like Big Bertha as a 3 at the end is just not great. The nice thing is, obviously, Hyper Scrapper is flexible. It's a blue pitchable, it's a 3 block, and then it can be a 0 for 2, 1 for 3, a 2 for 4, etc. Right? And then to the point of getting the 6 resources is just overkill. But yeah, so the only big ones we take are Zipper Hits and Jumpstart at this point. Now Gas Up, I suppose. And then everything else is 0, with all the resources being funneled into using Maxx and swing with Bank Breaker. And I will remind anyone watching this that I have played Mech for all of 2 days now, right? Started yesterday with the Armory deck and gone to this point. So everything I say do take with a hefty grain of salt, because my first foray into it. But it's still fun to play, and yeah. It's definitely an improvement over what Maxx was. And if you high roll into Fatigue, you're fine. Otherwise, you're screwed. That said, is there any other cards that I'm missing? Well, actually, so there's also the thought of taking a Evo head for the new helmet. I feel like this is a bait as well. I feel like the Cycling 2 Hyperdrivers is actually better. Just having a block that cycles essentially a dead card in block, or even a card you don't need to play on the following turn, is kind of big. Rather than trying to, you know, get extra usage out of our Banksy. I don't think you get to enough Hyperdrivers to warrant Evo. And then also playing Evo Circuit Breaker and clearing your board is also a bit rough. Obviously, for Fatigue, it's kind of warranted, right? It could be, you know, probably 2 to 6 cards cycling back into your deck, which is definitely nice. I don't think it's enough, though, to win with CYB and everything else going on with Fatigue. But still, food for thought. Evo Recall. I'm so tempted, because this is essentially get back a Hyperdriver that then sets up Fist Pump and Drive Break, and it's still blue pitchable. So taking one copy of it just as a maybe is kind of tempting. Data Mine, that's the other big one. Draw a card, then put a card. I mean, it gives you a similar flexibility to Break a Helm, while also, you know, adding 2 block. So if any of them had a sense of validity, I'd say Data Mine is probably the one you want to pick. Chain. Part of me wants to just out aggro, but I think you still need to take the AB. We already put in we already put in all the cards. Alright. Sorry, not Chain. Vincent. Played Monarch Draft at an Armory on Thursday. That's where my head's at. But we'll see how this goes. If we win this, it should put us above 50, hopefully. Head, please, and get rid of the bias. This is about the shittest hand you could start with. I guess it's not arsenaling. I think setting up the Hyperdriver is still the better call. I mean, I don't have to swing Banksy, I suppose. Well, now I do, since we banished her. No, I think it's still not correct to swing Banksy. I think it's actually keep the guaranteed boost or keep the soup up. That's a tricky question. I can also still get to enough resources with Foundry, actually. Right? Yeah. So I will crank and hit, because then keeping soup up is nice. We have the guaranteed go again, because it'll be easy enough for us to destroy the hyperdriver. They should just block this out. Yes, thank you. I was worried for a sec, because this is another bluff by us, right? Because we kept soup up. So we want the hyperdriver on one so that we can destroy it through boosting. That was almost rough. Alright, so we only need to get to 2 resources, which Foundry Art takes care of it. We don't have to max. Our turn should be nice. So we're actually going to skip the rune chant. I guess skip all doesn't work. Take the damage, and yeah, I think it is just a straight beatdown. Ah, that's bad. Can I get to enough resources without the hyperdriver to then just max? I think I can. We get 1 off board, that then goes to 2 with Foundry. I could just max so that I could swing. No target for it, so that's rough. Oh, plus we have Jumpstart, which is 1. So I think it's can the Jumpstart. So, Rocket or T-Bone first? I'd hate for them to call T-Bone with base Purgatory, in all honesty. I guess we Sprocket first. Boundary. The Hyperdriver into play. Rank it. T-Bone. Wing. Competitive? No chance. Especially out of the box. Right, Maxx is still maxing. There's not enough, in my opinion, to make him competitive out of the box. Messing with the deck and just trying to take it as straight aggro, it's I'd say in between Syndra and Aurora, personally. Soup up. And then just get an armory. Get a second hyperdriver. Once you get the ball rolling, so in other words, as long as you RNG into the right cards at the right time, it's fine. But it's because there's still that variance of my 9 hyperdrivers in deck to then, support those big payoff cards. It gets a little bit problematic. But still, it's extremely fun to play, and it opens your mind to some weird lines. It can be confusing at first, but once you start to figure them out, they're pretty fun. There's something you want to instance, I guess. Now, if Puffin gets a wrench, then you will really wish you had bought it right now, just for Clamp Press, because Clamp Press in Puffin, if she gets a wrench, will be just phenomenal. Like, it's not as crazy as Banksy's. Steam counter, maintain it, but it'd still be crazy. So I can ditch the Hyperdriver, or the Hyper Scrapper, so I might as well ditch 3. In fact, I'd rather get rid of the Crankshaft. I play the Hyperdriver, get 2 in the graveyard. Not enough for Hyper Scrapper. I'd like to Arsenal it. I think this is a light turn for us. Or is this just a block out because this is really rough? If I keep T-Bone, I get 2 resources, I can go to 3. That's actually not too bad. I will prevent them making an absurd amount of rune chance. 2, 3, 6. Yeah, I think that's fine. The Bankbreaker is strictly a construct card. You find it, you play it, you have to have 3 Hyperdrivers on board. Consumes the Hyperdrivers and Banksy to then give you Bankbreaker with 4 charges to use its Go Again ability, which is decent, but it's just a bit too slow. And then the fact that it clears your Hyperdrivers from board is very rough. It's definitely unplayable if you don't take Puffer Jacket, because just getting to 3 is seemingly impossible. I really wish it was... I want to destroy it. I want to keep the resources. I rather it was construct with up to 3 hyperdrivers, so that you had the choice. You could keep 1 hyperdriver on board and still get some level of fuel. Being able to definitely swing, 3/3, so 2 for 6 on board is nice. With clamp press and the overpower effect, can definitely help you beat down your opponent. But just the pressure of Banksy and the steam counter, I think is worth more overall than the setback of creating Bankbreaker. So yeah, it's only the back of the card. Also, don't think that was right. I think I should put the steam counter on the other hyperdriver, so it'd be 2 and 1. Rather than all 3 clearing this next turn. Just getting to that ratio of 3, to then max Banksy is fantastic. And in this case, we don't block, and it's just 0/0/0 clamp press Banksy. Banish top card of the deck, so that's fine. I'd rather come back with a high amount of damage. Yeah, if Bankbreaker was potentially generate 2 steam counters, that would have been phenomenal. Or even if it was tied to that Go Again, right? So it's Go Again, Overpower, and the steam counter proc. But, oh well. Start lights. So not having a hyperdriver for our following turn is going to be rough. Maybe I should just Boundary and 0 to 60. I can still make one. In either case, I'm sending the 3. I think I just go for damage. Because I wouldn't put the steam counter on the hyperdriver anyway. Yeah, so throwing out Clamp Press, cranking it, and then presenting a 5 recoup a steam counter is just crazy good value. So if they don't block this, we get Clamp Press for another 2 turns, which is phenomenal. Has to be probably Caprice in a card, right? Interesting. That scares me with how much rune chant they might be able to generate. Gas up, we do have one, beautiful. So let's keep my hand and just go back and forth at this point. So we can easily... How much were we presenting? 2, 4, 5, so 9, 13. Hmm. Think we're fine to just give another turn. Yeah, that's probably a solid spot for it. Eight puts us pretty low. Negate some damage. Unless I get them low enough where they have to start blocking everything. This isn't going to work out. I think we're still safe at 15 unless they draw excessively well. So it's definitely play gas up first, pitch the crankshaft because we want to play around Purgatory. We don't need to crank it, although it would allow me to play out of sequence. That would have been destroyed. I think that's better. They could still Purgatory us, but it's not too bad because we still just max Banksy. Actually, that should be the correct thought on their side. It's big enough, and potentially this is an item. No? Alright, then is just we get them low enough. They're keeping the armor for Banksy, I'd assume then. Alright, they're definitely in range that we should just be able to pick apart their hands. Them giving me the clamp press the previous turn was definitely a mistake if it was done for. This is the problem with the deck. I don't have much mech experience. Well, it's definitely pitch for some of them. Maxx seems kind of simple to learn since it's just straight aggro. Dash and at least getting the deck right in terms of number of items might be a bit rough. This is a boost, so it does enable, so 0. Alright. Do we have enough pressure? That's the question. So we'll get the plus from the hyperdrivers. So it's pitch the clamp press into it, right? Well, that's the only option, to be honest. So maybe I do like this. 3 for 5. A bit rough. Maybe because it has the boost, I'm a bit more happy taking it. Only this was another attack. That would have made me so happy. I think we do Arsenal it. I mean, the game's close to ending, so fatiguing's not a worry. Such a shame. Why couldn't you have been 3 extra damage? Ah. Nope, they do deny it. Now, if they just have enough rune chance. Oh, we did get a blue. And our return is pretty decent. You know what, actually. Okay. I don't know if Binzet well enough. Plus, can I even see what was in there? They had nothing in their banish zone, it looks like. So it was dead draw. And then our follow-up turn was pretty nice. So, if I have the resources, I'd rather use Max's ability, which I had the resources, rather than play the hyperdrive from hand. Because now in a turn like this, where I don't have to pay 2 for Maxx, I can pay 1, plus recoup the 1 straight away. Because I'm playing it slightly differently. Does that make sense? No. Yeah, because it's a 0, get the resource, use this hyperdrive to crank so then I can Banksy, which then is covered by Foundry card, and then potentially Arsenal card. So yeah, although it's one less cost, if I have the resources, I prefer to Maxx and crank into Banksy. rather than play the one from hand. How much damage would we have pressured? 3, 7, 13, and it would have been played for free, so cranks are then the swing. So it would have been 16. Yeah, so Foundry Heart helps smooth along the curve really nicely. So Hyperdrive is kind of weird because you gotta think of it as this just enabler for Banksy in a sense. So your weapon swing, plus then the resource generation. So making sure you have them for the following turns. And then yeah, swapping from the 2 cost to a 1 cost for a hand like this is a lot better. But overall, it is a fun, solid deck that you can have a decent time with. Going into a properly tuned deck, you are in for a sore spot, so I would not say you can take this to a proper competitive event, especially post this week, right? So new decks, or at least unsung heroes, kind of have that boost of people aren't expecting it so much, so they misplay sometimes. I've tried Jacket. It is good. It is just too slow, I think, for the current meta. If things cool off a little bit, I think Jacket into some of the heftier payoffs, like taking back Bank Breaker, might be viable. But again, this is now my second day of playing Mech, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. Just having the tempo from Klloo, because obviously you're not going to fatigue as Mech, so it's just trying to beat down your opponent as quick as possible. And you can throw out really decent numbers, right? 7, 19, 6, 17, 16. So the turns where we don't really block, where, you know, Aurora levels, basically. Just without the arcane ping, which is the problem. It's a solid amount of aggro. Again, I think it's better than Syndra. Syndra gets to, 15 easily-ish on a good day. But then the things are just less impactful. Because, like, you present Expedite. Your opponent thinks they have to block it because you're going to get that Hyperdriver for free, right? You present stuff that disables their equipment. You present Banksy, just upkeeping Clamp Press. So I think there's enough impactful cards that it's a little bit better than Syndra, in my opinion. But still has the same shortcomings of Syndra, unless you take, big blue Syndra and you just completely blindside your opponent in what you're trying to do. But that'll do me. Played a fair few amount of games today. Let's see. Did that put the win rate up past 50? No, 46. Same. Going first is also correct. Yeah. So, here's the tuned version. There it is. YouTube. So, again, because of the meta, because of how rampant fatigue is, whether it's Count Your Blessings or new, I would suggest always sideboarding in all the cards. And then, yeah, it values out easily, right? I've cut most of the 2 costs, so there's no heist, there's no... What was the other big one that they tried to run? I don't know. There's no heist. Crankshaft is only the big thing, but there's only blue, so it's mainly a pitchable, right? Sometimes 2 for 3. So it's got enough momentum, I think, that it's solid. But can definitely still do with some tuning, right? And yeah, just play as aggressive as you possibly can. Get rid of Drive Break as soon as you can, just because getting the value out of that by banishing a Hyperdrive is what you're really striving for. Keep an item so that you've got the crank for Banksy, right? So you're either always doing Maxx, Banksy, you're doing Clamp Press into Banksy, or you're doing Hyperdriver into Banksy. If you can double set up Hyperdrivers, then it smooths out your next turn as well, going Maxx into Banksy. So yeah, 2 Hyperdrivers on board plus Klloo, then covers your Maxx and Banksy, right? So that's the big first step to me of what you're trying to do, right? So once you have the 2 established, just maintaining them. But yeah, there we go. Everyone who's hanging out, thanks. Hope you enjoyed our foray into Mech. I do definitely want to pick up Mech with Puffin coming, so we'll probably continue to play this a little bit here and there. At least I'll be taking it to my armories, whatnot, right? But then when Puffin comes out, Puffin and Marlin, Necromancer, kind of exciting, but I think my full attention is going to be on Puffin and Marlin, just because what they can do shenanigan-wise. Seems great as well as probably being, competitive. Anyway, I'm off for the day. Time to go have my Easter afternoon.